So much for checking in. I am sure that you are watching lots of things on the internet, that we're all now stuck at home or wherever we have to quarantine ourselves. My name's Trevor Russell. Thank you so much for checking in and watching. Why am I here? Well, I am here because I'm putting on my hat today and over this coming series to share what I hope to be helpful as to how we can cope and how we can create coaching advice, information, suggestions, really with the goal to support all of us in this time of change and evolution and even stress and worry. Some people are continuing to move forward and do business, and other people are kind of like, what do I do? And other people are under the bed and thinking that the sky's going to cave in. So I see that we're all at these different stages. Maybe you can relate to going through all three of those stages. I know that I can. So this is a very quick series on how we can think more constructively in more empowered ways to help us cope with this time now and into the future. So I've decided to call it Coping and Creating Coaching. Why? So we can cope better and that we can create new. And what I'm going to talk to you about is jumping to conclusions. We all have these different thinking styles that we pick up, and some we're born with, some happen due to child trauma, but we can have empowering thinking and we can have disempowering thinking. And until very often someone puts our thinking under the radar, or we put our own thinking under the radar, or a combination of both, we can run patterns of thinking that can either help us live happier, more optimistic, prosperous lives where we're in creation and flow, and other times have thinking styles that really are not very helpful and are very disempowering and can cause depression, anxiety, and it's very interesting to see. I'm sure you can relate where you've seen people and they're thinking quite positively and they're coping, and you could be thinking, how is that possible? The sky's caving in. Or you could be the person that's positive and thinking, how can they be thinking so negatively when there's so much opportunity? So I'm just going to share a little thinking style each time I do these videos. And if you want, I've got a little guide that I can give you on coping to creating thinking styles, coaching to help you if any of these resonate with you, which I'll put the details below. So today, jumping to conclusion, fortune telling a negative future. What do I mean by that? Well, I am sure that if you're anything like probably most human beings on the planet, including me, we so often think without going under, I suppose, check or looking at it, that we can fortune tell a future. A little bit cheeky in the delivery, but jumping to conclusions is it's going to be really bad. It's going to be a disaster. The world has come to an end. Now, really, I know respectfully, me included, my friends included, this is a really, really challenging time, and most of us have never been through anything like this ever before, and it would make perfect sense that we could jump to a negative future, a disastrous future, and fortune tell a negative. However, even though I'm saying definitely be on guard and be conscious of what's going on, do we really know? Do we really know what's going to happen? And so really right here, right now, yes, it's challenging, but and there are definitely things that are concerning and upsetting, and there are people that are sick, and there are people that are dying. However, to consider where we are at the moment in relation to what is true and what could be, especially if you are feeling really stressed, really worried, even to the point of depressed and really, really in deep fear, disempowered, trapped fear, could you be jumping to conclusions about a negative future? So what can we do if you are feeling that way, or what can we do to just recognize this very subtle but very important understanding of how we think, and are we jumping to conclusions either into a negative future or to a positive future. So if you're feeling good, you could be thinking that it's tough, but we don't quite know yet. Or you could be thinking it's all a disaster and the world's coming to an end, which is a fortune telling of a negative future, which I've already said. So what can we do? Assuming that we know. So we're making an assumption that we know what's going to happen, which is, do we know? Unless you are some specially skilled, talented person that possibly do exist that can fortune tell the future. I'm not personally one of those. Do we actually know? So we assume that we know. The next thing is this really true? In other words, asking ourselves, not just letting the thought go off and let it run us, but actually sitting or getting present to the moment and saying, well, do I really know? Do I really know what is going to happen? For me personally, I don't really know. I don't know. A friend of mine said to me yesterday, what do you think is going to happen? And I honestly said, I don't really know. All I see is where we're at the moment, but I don't know. The next thing is, what's the positive? If you are fortune telling and jumping to a conclusion that could be feeling like you're really in fear and really worried, what could be a positive? And not always an easy thing to do, but this is the challenge with better coping and creating thinking styles, which is going to work and thinking, well, maybe one of the positives are I'm learning how to do my business differently. Maybe one of the positives are I'm learning how to take better care of myself. So maybe one of the gifts or many of the gifts out of this whole thing has been being able to spend more time doing something or fixing something or learning something or improving something. You're the one that will know what those positives are, but there is this very powerful thing that the brain does. When you ask it questions, it will give us answers. And if you don't already know that, I would get you to test it. Ask yourself a question, and see what ends up popping up. Like you could even say, where's my keys? And all of a sudden your brain thinks, I left them in the kitchen. So it's this amazing computer. We don't have the time to go through that in all great detail today, but what are the positives? Then what could be a helpful way to look at this? So instead of fortune telling into a negative future, not just for this situation, but for any situation where we're fortune telling into a negative future, what could be the helpful ways to look at this? In other words, what's helpful around this situation? Again, it's given me the opportunity to learn a new skill. It's given me an opportunity to work on something. It's given me the opportunity to learn how to cope better. It's given me the helpful skill to learn how to better manage my health and my money and my family. Again, only up to you to know. But I'm hoping that what you get from this is when we go and move the machinery out of fortune telling a negative future and shifting it into a more optimistic possibility fortune telling, your energy will feel better. Your optimism brings more energy. Optimism brings more focus and clarity. Negativity and doubt and worry lowers our energy. And in this time where we really, in a lot of ways, could do with getting more of our warrior on, I personally feel it's all about lifting our energy so that we can cope with what's going on more skillfully, more confidently, in more proactive ways, which I personally feel starts with the thinking always. How are we thinking to allow us to feel better to go do what we've got to do? The next thing is come back to the present. If you have a thinking style which is jumping to a negative future, asking yourself, is it real and true? And if we come back to the present, the gift, the present, what's really going on right here, right now? Because really, right here, right now is what we have. And I know you would know this, but the gift of the present. Okay, I have a roof over my head. Okay, I've got food. Okay, we've got government helping us and working to help us. We've got this. So right here, right now, while we don't exactly know, positive or negative, what's going to happen in the future, right here, right now, we're okay. And if we're not okay, What are the things that we can do to get ourselves into a place of being okay? Could it be that we need to look at our thinking to get into a place of being okay? Does there need to be a phone call that needs to be made? Does there need something that needs to be attended to? So we can get feeling better more in the present moment. Because right here, right now, my message is, as I wrap up this quick little video, is we don't know what's coming, but we do have today. We do have our family today. We do have ourselves today. We do have our friends today. We do have, I know if you look at it, we all have gifts right here today. And that really is the most important thing, because that's all we've got, is today, right now. Not discrediting what could happen, but I just invite you, me, and all of us, if this resonates with you, to make sure that we're not fortune telling into a negative future that doesn't exist yet. And I know it's not easy, especially with everything going on in the media. So also be careful of that. How much you're choosing to watch, how much do you really need to watch? I think there's the difference between being kept up to date and also just drowning ourselves in just too much negativity. But that's another video of where we put our focus. I might do that in the next video. So I hope you found that helpful, help you feeling better. Make sure what you're thinking about, what you're projecting. And if you would like a little tip sheet on positive, proactive thinking styles, I've got it that I can email it to you. I'll put my details below. And if you like this, you find this helpful, let me know anything else that I can share with you about how we can cope and create from a thinking style, from anything that's on your mind. And I'll be sharing more coping to creating thinking styles over the coming weeks. Strength to you, stay safe, sending love, and speak to you very soon. And if, by the way, you want to have a chat also, you can reach out, happy to talk to. Ciao for now, see you very soon.